All right. Okay, so thank you guys for joining. I see people still hopping on. I'm Kay Wilson. For those of you who are new to our following, I'm Kay Wilson, regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and I am the lead consultant with Northern Connections Canada Immigration. Hi, Rolana. Thanks for joining. All right. And as you guys pop in, as per usual, let me know where you are joining me from today. And if it's your first time joining us on our lives, we haven't been online live for a few weeks now. It's been really crazy. And, we couldn't let this announcement pass and we didn't come and chat with you guys about it. And I would love to hear how you guys feel about the resumption of draws for those who have been following, those who have been planning their migration. And tell me about how you guys are feeling. The draws, as you know, so we're here to discuss the express entry draw resumption, which is expected to happen on Wednesday, so July the 6th. The Government of Canada announced that they will be resuming the express entry all program draws. So we've had express entry draws all this time, but what we didn't have was draws from all programs in the express entry system. Nice to meet you too. Welcome to everyone that's joining us for the first time. So glad to have you guys. Okay, so Nadine says she's so excited. Yeah, it's amazing. So I'll just give you guys a bit of a background, and I see Sharda joining me on LinkedIn. Welcome, Sharda. Glad to have you, Sharda from Trinidad. All right, so the express entry all program draws. The last time that we had the draws was back in December of 2020, right? So it's been quite some time since we've had the invitations. And I'll just pull up some info here. And I see some more people are hopping on. Amazing. So this December of 2020 was when we had the last all program draw. And then the cutoff score for that draw was 468, right? So that's almost 2 years, not quite 2 years, but about a year and a half since we've had an all program draws. The express entry system, for those who don't know, is used to manage applications to 3 programs. So that's the Federal Skilled Worker Program. That's Canada's flagship program, right? So Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Federal Skilled Trades Program, as well as the Canadian Experience Class Program. So those 3. The last time, like I mentioned, that we had a draw from all 3 programs, so meaning candidates from all 3 programs were selected and invited to apply for permanent residence, was back in December of 2020. Since then, there was a pause on draws for all programs. What we've been having is we continue to have draws from the Canadian Experience Class Program and the PNP candidates that are in the express entry system. So we continue to have those for some time. And I think the draws from the Canadian Experience Class Program also paused back in September of 2021. So the Canadian Experience Class is typically for those who have some sort of eligible Canadian work experience, right? So you've worked in Canada for at least a year in the past 3 years. The federal skilled worker draws are typically people who are outside of Canada and are looking to migrate to Canada, right? So those draws have not occurred since, and they will be resuming on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we're expected to see candidates from all 3 programs within the express entry system. And outside of those 3 programs, you do have candidates as well who have been nominated by a province. So these are the provincial nominee candidates. Those have actually continued throughout this time, right? And so those we'll expect to see those continue as well, right? And so the provincial nominee programs is a completely different thing. I won't be touching on that today, but We've been getting a lot of messages from clients and potential clients. And so we just wanted to come on here and to discuss a little bit about the draws being resumed and what do you do? What should you be doing right now? Are you in the Express Entry system? I guess that would be my question to a lot of you. Like, can you tell me in the comments, how are you in the system? Like, do you have a profile in the Express Entry system at the moment? And I'll know how to tailor what I'm saying based on my audience, based on where you guys are at in the process. Do you have an existing Express Entry profile? If you do, let me know, what is your score currently? Okay, so Nadine says since January 2021. What's your score, Nadine? Okay, Trizzy from Facebook says no. Okay, Sanisha says yes. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of no's. If you don't, why don't you? That's my question. If your goal is to come to Canada, you should have an Express Entry profile, at least. Okay, so Nadine is 442. Okay. Sanisha says she's 409. Okay. All right, so you're above the 400 mark. That is actually good. All right, and Kellyanne says hers is 400, but needs some updating. Okay. As you saw, as I previously mentioned, that the last all program draw that they had back in 2020, the cutoff score at that time was 468, right? What we expect, and I'm just looking at the composition of the pool, of course, that cutoff is going to go up, right? It's going to increase. That's the expectation, and based on the number of candidates in the pool right now. So right now there are over 200,000 people in the pool. So these are people who are interested. They're expressing an interest in coming to Canada. Meshibu says 478, pretty decent. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 5 things that you should be doing right now as you await the return of the draws. For those who are not in the pool, of course, it's going to mean at least getting to the pool, right? If you're not in the pool, regardless of what your score is, you really don't have a chance of being selected if you're not in the pool. So that's number 1. And you should have already done some of these things that I've mentioned, but if you haven't, at least it's not too late, right, to get started with that. And for those who are our clients, those who are working with us, if we have done your profile, then this would have already been taken care of. You guys don't have anything to worry about. So those that we are representing, we would have handled all of that for you. Okay, so before I even get to what you guys need to start doing right now, there was an update to the proof of funds requirement, right, for Express Entry. And so you have until July 15th. No, it was June. It was back in June. There was an update to the proof of funds requirement. And so you were required to update. I think June 8th was the date, the cutoff date. So you were required to update your proof of funds amount in your Express Entry profile. So hopefully you would have done that. If your proof of funds amount changed, which all of them changed, and you didn't update it, then it's very likely that you would have been kicked out of the system. Okay, so that's one thing that I wanted to note. Okay, so in terms of some of the things that you should be doing, you want to make sure that your passport is up to date and it's not expiring. An expired passport can also get you kicked out of the Express Entry system. So you want to at least make sure that your passport is still valid, and you typically want to have at least 6 months on your passport. 6 months is pretty short though. For some countries, if you have 6 months remaining on your passport, they will allow you to renew the passport. So if you are in, that close to the expiration date of your passport, then you might want to have that renewed. You want to also check your language test, right, to get into the express entry system, you would have had to complete your English language testing. So you want to ensure that your test is still valid and it's not expiring soon. If you are selected from the pool of candidates and during the time that the time in which that you are selected, between submitting your EAPR, so that's your electronic application for permanent residence, and you being selected, you're being issued an invitation to apply. If your language test results expire during that time, you cannot submit an electronic application for permanent residence, right? So you have to make sure that your language test is valid. These are usually valid for 2 years, so you want to double check that. Credential assessment, you would have had to do a credential assessment. So it's called an educational credential assessment. You would have had to do that in order to even get into the express entry system. So you want to also check on that, make sure it's not expiring. These last a little longer than the language test, so they're valid for 5 years, right? So if you have time on that, that's great. Also, if you completed any additional programs, any additional credential between the time you created your profile and right now, you may want to get that assessed. And that will be dependent on what your highest level of education or credential is already in your profile, right? So it will differ for everyone. And this will be handled on a case-by-case basis. So you'll have to assess for yourself to see where you're at. If you completed anything, some people may have been doing their master's, right? And if you completed it within that time, then you may want to update your profile with that. Then the next thing I wanted to touch on was work experience, right? So you want to make sure that the work experience that you have in your profile is up to date, right? If you change jobs, you want to update that. If you've acquired work experience in a different NOC, you also want to ensure that that is properly reflected on your profile. And then, of course, with your work experience, whatever work experience that you're claiming in your profile, you'll also need to have the relevant letters, so employment reference letters, to support those work experience. And remember also that these employment reference letters, there are certain requirements that they have to meet. So you want to make sure that they are meeting the requirements as well. You also want to ensure that your profile is up to date. Make sure your profile is up to date. You're claiming all the points that you're eligible for, and you're not claiming any points that you should not be claiming. All right. Because though it is somewhat of a self-assessment, when you do get selected and you submit your supporting documents, it is being verified, right? There's a completeness check that will be done before it even gets to an immigration officer. So you want to make sure that everything is good. You're not claiming any points for which you're not eligible. Because if you do and you are selected, it will mean a refusal if you're not eligible for the points that you're claiming. Okay, so you would have gone through all of that time and money, right? And it would just be wasted, or it would just mean additional time waiting again if you decide to go back into the pool. So ensure that your profile is up to date and it's optimized. You want to make sure that you're getting all the points that you can get. As you can see, with a system like this, points can be very important. I wouldn't get caught up with points, as with this resumption of the draws, it is expected that the cutoff scores are going to be high, right? Based on the composition of the pool. If you look at the distribution of candidates in the pool and the CRS ranges, you will know that at least for the first couple of draws, the scores are going to be pretty high. Okay. So those are some of the things to be mindful of. And also, just a little bonus tip here. You also want to get into the PNP systems, right? There are some PNP systems that are outside of the express entry system. There are some that are linked to the express entry, so you can align your profiles, but there are others that are outside of the express entry system. For some people, especially if points are a concern, the way forward might just be through a PNP, as opposed to directly through express entry. So you will want to explore those options as well to expand your reach a little bit, and also give yourself additional opportunities for selection, and of course to get to Canada. So those are some of the tips that I have for you guys. I see there were some questions there in the comments. So some people are asking, how do you get in the pool? Before you can get in the pool, you have to first make sure that you're eligible. So there's that eligibility check, ensuring that you meet the eligibility requirements for that, and then also completing the relevant assessment. So, and I recommend, before even looking at getting into the express entry system, make sure that it's the right pathway for you, right? It may not be the best pathway for everyone. So that has assessment has to be done first, right? So you have to make sure it's the best pathway for you to get to Canada before going to do language testing and credential assessment, where you may not need it, right? So that would be my recommendation. You will likely need those eventually for permanent residence in Canada, but sometimes it's not needed right away, right? Depending on the pathway that you take. So that would be my advice. One way to do that. Okay, so Antoinette is asking, where can we get the assessment done? So if you go to, I see that question is being asked on Instagram. You can go on our website. We have a pre-assessment. It's very high level and it's very general. So we're just looking at certain factors to see if you would meet them. But the best way to get that evaluation done is through a consultation. So that's typically how we will be able to guide you in terms of looking at the various programs. Canada has over 80 immigration programs. So that's one way that we'll be able to guide you in terms of what programs might be best suited. We look at your profile, we look at your spouse's profile as applicable, and then we can indicate which pathway may be best suited for you, all right, to get to Canada. So to schedule a consultation, you'll go on the link in our bio to schedule one on our website directly, or you can send an email to info@nccanadaimmigration.com, and our team can assist you from there, right? So we usually start off with a consultation. Visit our website to see the different types that we have and how you can schedule one. The scheduling is actually done right there on the website. How much will it cost for any program? And can you help students in Ontario? Yes, we do work with students across Canada. I actually do get a lot of students from Ontario who either need help with relocating to Saskatchewan for jobs, or something along that line. But yeah, we do help students in Ontario. It doesn't matter where you are in Canada. As a regulated consultant, we are licensed to practice across Canada. So we help those who are in Canada as well as outside Canada. Okay, I hope I didn't miss any of the questions. And then somebody's asking about how much does it cost for the programs. Canada, so to get into the express entry pool, there is no cost to get into the express entry pool. There are costs that you will have to factor in for sure. So like if you have to do, depending on the pathway chosen, right? If you have to do an English language test, you would have to factor the cost for that. If you have to do the credential assessment, you'll have to pay for that as well. You will have the right of permanent residence fee and application processing fee. That is not paid until you are selected, right, from the whichever program it is that you are applying for. So they will have an application fee. If you're applying directly for permanent residence, then you would have that permanent residence, right of permanent residence fee, which is a one-time fee that's charged by the government. For us, when you do a consultation, our consultation sessions are paid sessions. So again, visit our website to see the various fees. The fees are there on displayed on the website. So we have different types. We might do a study consultation, so study in Canada, or a permanent residence consultation, a general consultation, or a work consultation. We've actually been doing a lot more recruitment as well, because if you guys have been following, you'll see that Canada is experiencing a labor shortage, a severe labor shortage right now. And so the government actually made some changes in recent months to enable employers to hire foreign workers a lot easier. And there has been a lot more interest from employers in hiring from overseas. So we've been doing a lot more recruitment. So we tend to, the jobs will usually come from the employers. In most cases, not all cases, we will post the positions that we're currently recruiting for, or helping employers to recruit. And sometimes it's not advertised, maybe because we may have a client that we're working with currently, and we would recommend them for those positions. Right, so that is how we typically do it right now. But almost every week, different opportunities become available. So Chevelle is asking, are you able to show the distribution of the CRS scores in the pool currently? It's actually on the CIC website. So they have, it's about 200, a little over 200,000, 220,000 actually, a little over 220,000 people. And they have a distribution based on the scores. I can have my tech person drop it in the chat for you, but they do have it posted. It's always there, and they update it as draws happen. It will be updated to reflect the new numbers. But just remember, it's a pool, so you will have people coming out maybe because they have been invited to apply, and you'll have people going in. You'll have profiles expiring. People may decide not to continue. And then you'll have new profiles being created. So, all right. How much for consultation? Visit our website, nccanadaimmigration.com. I'll try to pin it in the chat, but nccanadaimmigration.com. Go to book a consultation, and then you'll see the different options there, along with the associated fees. What sectors? That's a good question. What sectors are looking for workers? I would say there are jobs available across different sectors, but in terms of the bulk of opportunities that we're seeing, hospitality, hands down, hospitality, accommodation, food services. We see tech. Of course, tech has always been one of those industries that we're always hiring, so that continues. Yeah, but we see openings in industries that we didn't really see hiring before. All right, so I see somebody asking about having a USV. I won't be able to answer that question, not in this forum, because there would be a lot of questions that I would ask you about that specific situation, having your US visa revoked. I would have additional questions that I would have to ask you about that. So I wouldn't be able to properly advise you in this manner. For that, you would have to schedule a consultation. Okay. Healthcare, yes, absolutely. Healthcare for sure. Yeah. Healthcare for sure. Healthcare for sure. I see Natalia asking about healthcare. Absolutely. And we do have some projects in the works with some employers that we're working with and onboarding. So we'll definitely share those details once we have them, and they might include other industries that I haven't mentioned here. Yes, you can, Nadine. I do recommend getting in the PNP system if you can, yes. For Canadian visa, you would have to schedule a visa consultation to talk more about that. No, we're not in Jamaica. So somebody says, is your company in Jamaica? We are located in Regina, Saskatchewan, in Canada. So that is our only location. But from this location, we serve clients in Jamaica. Okay, so you're asking about Jamaica. We do serve a lot of clients in Jamaica from this location. But no, we do not have any other offices overseas. All right. So thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for joining this evening. I do hope that you found this session helpful, and that, you know, a lot of you will be getting your invitations to apply to come to Canada. As I say, a key takeaway is, if you're not in the Express Entry pool, you know, that would be a great place to start if you're eligible. Not everyone will be eligible. It's not the only way to get to Canada, so just be mindful of that. There are other avenues as well that you can explore. But it is a big deal that the draws will be resuming, and over time, I'm sure we'll see the scores level out. They will be high initially, but we'll see them transform over time. All right, so just be patient and do what you need to do on your part. Have your, as they say, have all your ducks in a row, so that you can be there. I've seen a lot of people who, when they had earlier, they had a huge draw for Canadian experience class candidates, and they dropped the cutoff score was like 75, and there were so many people that we knew that were in the system who were selected, but they just weren't ready because they were not expecting to be selected. And then also, one thing that there was a bill that recently passed in Parliament in Canada regarding Express Entry. So they are actually planning to do some occupation-specific draws. So this will be a game changer for a lot of people. Maybe you're in the pool and your score is probably low, right? And you don't think you have a chance of being selected, especially with the competition in the pool and the high scores. This potential change that they will be having is going to be a game changer for a lot of people. So you potentially can get selected because of your occupation, because of where your work experience lies. So that will be something that's new, and it's something that they're doing to address the needs of the labor market in Canada currently. So it will be interesting to see what they do, or what professions they choose to start with. So again, I say that to say, if you're in the pool and your score is on the lower side, don't get discouraged, because I believe there's always hope, right? So that will be an additional opportunity outside of, so there's always the PNPs, right? And outside of the PNPs, if they're doing occupation specific draws, it means that it won't just be about the score. It will be about your occupation. Where do you have your work experience, and what are the needs of the labor market in Canada at any given time? All right. So that's all I have for you guys today. And yeah, hopefully I'll see some of you in Canada as you get selected from the pool. And like I said, if you need support with that application, whether it's through a consultation, so you can schedule a consultation to see, because I'm seeing the questions come in, so you can schedule a consultation to see which option might be best for you in terms of programs. And if you have your Express Entry profile and you are selected, we also do application reviews. So if you are doing your application yourself, but you want to ensure that, I mean, after waiting this long and you are selected, you want to make sure it's done right, and that your application isn't rejected or, you know, refused. When you submit it, if you're selected, then you can also reach out to us, send us an email, info@nccanadaimmigration.com, if you want your application to be professionally reviewed. So we would have an initial call. We would review all of your documents, your supporting documents, and we would also make recommendations on stuff to change. We'll give you a checklist as well. And then we would have a call again to do a final review. You would get a report about what our recommendations are as it relates to submitting your application. And then, yeah, you can go forward with confidence and submit your stuff. So do reach out to us, send an email if that is something that interests you as well. All right. Thank you, guys. Yeah, absolutely. Review our webpage. If you want to look at our licensing as well, and that's another thing. Anyone that you're working with regarding Canadian immigration, you want to make sure that they have the appropriate license, okay? Not everyone is licensed to do what they are doing. And as a result, you might not be protected, and you can set up yourself for failure by doing that. So the regulator, somebody's just asking, the regulator is called the College of Immigration and Citizenship Consultants. So that's CICC. If you look on their website, they have a section there. So you visit the website, do a Google CICC. Look on their website, they have Find an Immigration Consultant. That will pull up a directory of those who are licensed to practice Canadian immigration, right? So whether that person is in Canada or outside of Canada, they have to be registered, licensed with this body in order to provide you with Canadian immigration advice or assist with application. Okay, so make note of that. And that is how you do your due diligence and your checks to protect yourself, protect your goal, your dream, your investments, right? All right, guys, thank you so much and have a blessed evening. Thanks for joining.